Recording. Okay, nice. So yeah, we're gonna start a new chapter. It's like new model. We're gonna learn completely new topic, which is React, which is something really important, especially if you like now when it's come to like jobs and stuff. React is really like a hot topic. So it's really useful skills to know, not just about learning and stuff, but also for kind of working and these kind of things. So we will just visit the React website. This is like mainly when I want to read about something. For example, let's say I heard about there is a topic or there is like new framework, but I don't know anything about it. I want to learn about it. I just Google it. I type the name on Google, and I just like the first website, React, a JavaScript library for building user interfaces. So I just would visit the website. So this is the website of React. You will live here. This is your Bible. This is your Quran or your something like that. So yeah, so this is like the JavaScript. This is like the website, the main website of React or the official website. And mainly, I don't know if you have an idea about React. Do you have like any ideas about React?
For building.
Yeah, it's a JavaScript framework.
Yeah.
It's a JavaScript framework. Well, you can use it with like other languages, but it's mainly for front end. So React is a framework for building user interfaces. Until now, you have been like doing user interfaces using like plain JavaScript. So you just like put the HTML, put the CSS, and start editing like the DOM or adding element to the DOM, removing element from the DOM manually. So React is a framework that help you do that in a better way, kind of. Because if you have really big application, let's say Facebook, because Facebook is the creator of React. Facebook created React. And it's now using it for all their products. So Facebook is using React for Instagram, for WhatsApp, Twitter is using React. So it's really like something that you use for building complex web applications, not simple like stuff. So it helps you when you are building really complex application. Why? Because modifying the data or altering the data or altering the DOM, like adding elemented DOM, like you have experienced that when you were like editing the DOM. There's a lot of errors. Sometimes it's not adding. Sometimes you need to create an element. Sometimes the element is not in the DOM. Sometimes you need to remove elements. So it's become really complex. Imagine if you have like 50,000 elements. I don't know, like 100,000 elements. Because in like in a website like Facebook, it's really big. So just imagine like building Facebook using just like get element by ID and add class and remove class. All the animation on Facebook. That will be it's doable, of course, but it will be super complex. So React is a JavaScript framework or library. If I can do it, there is no like clear like boundaries between libraries and framework, but it's a framework that help you build user interfaces. So React is not for building backends. React is not for communicating with databases. React is just the front end. It's just the visual aspect of your website. That's React. So, and there is like some kind of core concepts in React. We will cover them all. We will try to build kind of examples and stuff. But yeah, so this is like the main idea behind like React. It's just like a framework, and we will learn how to use it in the next like upcoming 3 weeks. So you can see here, React is declarative. It's component based and learn once, write anywhere. I know this is kind of what the fuck is that? But yeah, we will like talk and explain each concept separately. So to start, anyone here like knows about Babel? All of you? Who doesn't know here about Babel?
Not too comfortable anyway.
Yeah, but you know the idea of Babel, so it's like transforming code.
Yes. Yeah. Musa, you remember it?
Yeah.
Okay, so Babel is a really important tool. Now it's just in 2017, so you can use it like anywhere to do a lot of stuff. For example, I don't know, like mainly, I guess, like why did you use like Babel? What was the?
So like when we're doing the arrow function, if you write it in let me say the old way,
Yeah.
transform it to.
Exactly. So if you want to like your code like be supported in like older browsers, you write like your code in the next JavaScript version, in the modern JavaScript, and you gain like for free support for older browsers. That's the good thing. But it's not just about that. Using Babel, you can build your own syntax. You can build your own ideas. That's the thing. So the idea of Babel is transforming code. So you get code as it's like a function. You take your name as an input and output like hello your name. This is like a function. Babel is the same. It's like a function that takes code and produce other codes. In between, for example, you used Babel to transpile code from ES6 to ES5, like all the JavaScript. Because there is a function that do that inside. You can create another function that use Babel. And I don't know, like get like functions and change the name of these functions or do something like that. So you can change or do whatever you want with Babel. There's like developers writing Babel and like edit like custom like plugins for Babel, so you can do whatever you want. Let's say you have like JavaScript code, and when you ship it to the browser, it's become really clear, so other people can see your JavaScript and edit it on the browser. Let's say you want to change the name or developers or the functions. You can do that using Babel. So Babel is transforming tool. It's not just for ES6 or it's transforming any code. JavaScript code, precisely. That's the idea. So I don't know. Let's say I have like class test.
You guys see it from
Can you see it? Yeah, exactly.
can you read it? I can type and see.
Just a second. I'm not using the. Yeah, it should be fine.
The control plus minus or command plus minus.
What?
Control or command plus minus.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm using like.
When you say you can do one code to one code,
Yeah.
I do like C# together.
Well, that's kind of the concept behind Babel is just like JavaScript to JavaScript.
Okay.
But you can do whatever you want. Just imagine like how you can transform JavaScript. Let's say I don't know, you have a function called like hello, or let's say like you have a concrete example. You have a function called print document, and someone is using your website and he's developer. He can open your console and call the function because he could notice that this function is called like print receipt or print like document. So he can notice that function and he can start printing random stuff using your code. But let's say you want to change all the name of the functions. So you have your code, but when you ship it to the browser, you need to change everything. This is like security method a lot of people use to change the. So when someone starts reading the code, he will notice like weird stuff. Like there is no variables called like age and name. It's just like X, Y, X, like really old names. This is why like we are using Babel to transform the code. So kind of changing the code. But yeah, we can do a lot of stuff. But we will see how React use Babel. That's the main idea. This is why I'm talking about Babel. Let's say extend, I don't know. Yeah, let's say just class test class test2 extend test. This is clear? So this is like JavaScript, modern JavaScript with classes and stuff, ES6 or ES7 or something, and this is the old JavaScript transforming stuff. And so why I'm talking about Babel? Because React use Babel. How it use it? Let's say you have like const x equal, I don't know. No, I want like string. So let's say test. Okay, this is like super simple JavaScript. Let's say I want to put, I don't know, let's say I have like DOM element and I want to like say,
Hey, you want to print it out in the multi line.
yeah, maybe something like that, but we have like variable here. So let's say I want to put HTML here, let's say page 1. Nice. Nice. Good. Okay, so we have like HTML.
Still we have
Yeah, thank you. So this is like super like simple, just like an HTML string, and you can assign this to the inner content or of like a DOM element or something. But in React, we can omit this stuff, so you can do like this.
So we're writing HTML and CSS in the React.
Exactly, precisely. That's what I'm talking about. So you can mix HTML and JavaScript at the same file. Technically, if I will copy this and put it inside the browser, that's wrong. This is not valid JavaScript.
Because remember you need to have like, as you had it before, it should be contained within a string.
Exactly. It needs to be like this.
That is valid JavaScript. So you would also see then if you have that as a string, then also the converted JavaScript would also be just a string.
Exactly. If you put this, let's just keep it back. It's the same thing. So just like we can write like HTML or hello or whatever we want. But in our case, we have this. But see how it gets converted?
So what we have on the right hand side is JavaScript.
Exactly.
But what we have on the left hand side is not JavaScript. It's
an enhanced version of JavaScript. It's an enhanced version of JavaScript.
It's an extended
Version of JavaScript. So it's the normal JavaScript, but with an exception that you can write HTML inside JavaScript. We will see why we want to do that, but just get the idea. So
anyone have a guess like why it might be nice to be able to write HTML within JavaScript?
Just to have an input file, so
that's a good idea. That's a good idea. But there is also like other benefits, but that's the main idea. Sometimes, for example, you have like markup and you have JavaScript here. Let's say you have like UL or list, and you have another JavaScript. You have like UL in HTML, and you have like another JavaScript file to get the li or the UL and start inserting. But if you have really big website with a lot of LIs, a lot of ULs, a lot of pages, and you want to edit, for example, the li instead of adding like one column, you want two columns. You need to look to the JavaScript file and the HTML file and start like comparing them. But if you have them in one place, you can just change them like on the fly.
This became confusing because what we studied before, we have HTML, CSS, JavaScript.
Exactly.
and all
Yeah.
this. And you deal with this because you don't want to deal with, for instance, if you want to edit something with HTML, then you don't need to go for each one and change it. That's what I remember.
Completely true. Completely true.
Yeah,
Completely
and
true.
if you don't do something, manipulate something for the HTML with the DOM,
Yeah.
you need to go for from the JavaScript.
Yeah, exactly.
So now you are going to manipulate each element by itself.
Yeah, exactly, kind of.
From the JavaScript.
But yeah. You are right. It's bad to mix JavaScript with HTML and CSS. It's bad. Separation of concern. Like you should like separate them. That's really good. But React kind of use another way of thinking, another model. So you'll be exposed to another way of thinking. It's completely another way of thinking. So all the benefits and trade-offs, they will change.
So here,
It's like you are on Earth and you're gonna like go to the moon. You cannot use like the same way of thinking. The same. It's really a different place. So you need to use like different mechanisms. Like the things that are like kind of valuable, like good here, they will change there. They will become kind of bad thing. So this is why.
so here we still have a separation of concern.
Yeah,
which would
but
be,
in another way.
introduced. But it would be another way. But you can also understand that it's not like the fundamental technology which is running the browser has changed. There's still HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, which is created from the code that you would be writing, and that would be powering the browser anyway. So you would have the thing on the right hand side, which is actually doing the job for you.
Exactly.
But now that you have more experience writing more Node, HTML, CSS, now you can go for a more sophisticated way of a different separation of concerns, different like mental model about programming in the browser, which would make you basically be more efficient. Right? But the underlying technology is the same. Right?
So yeah, exactly. So what we are trying to do, or what like frameworks, because we don't have just React. We have Angular, we have React, we have Ember, we have Vue, we have a lot of frameworks. Or yeah, like there's like every day there's like a new framework. So behind the scene, you write like your code inside, because like you use the framework to write your code. So you write your code in a really different way. But at the end of the day, you will ship HTML and CSS and JavaScript to the browser. So these frameworks are just adding kind of an extra layer to your way of thinking. So before it was like you write code, the browser, straight away. Now there's like a layer between you and the browser. That layer kind of changed the model. This is the way of like what like frameworks are doing. So there's an extra layer. So you write your code in a different way. It's like you are not even like coding web application. It's really different way. But the framework will do some stuff inside and produce what you have been like doing in the old like days, which HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Why? Because it's getting really complex to work with the browser straight away. You can do it, of course, but it's just better to use frameworks. Not always, but you need like when you will have like a job and stuff, you will start like when you have like website, you want to build a website or web application, you have a client or something. He will ask you, I have this requirement, and this requirement. You will start studying the case and said, Angular is better for this job, React is better, or React is better, or it's bad, and Angular is better, or no, HTML and like the old HTML and JS is better. So it's just a matter of choice and a matter of requirements, and you will get the framework. So don't use like frameworks. I'm gonna use this framework forever. It's not like that. Depending on requirement. Facebook has like some problems and stuff. They created React to solve these problems. But if you don't have the same problems, using React will make just your website complex and useless because you are not solving the problem. It's like having a hammer and trying to, I don't know, give it like as a gift or something. It's completely like, kind of strange. Or using a hammer to, I don't know, to eat.
To kill an ant.
Yeah, exactly. Or using a hammer to eat. It's like, come on, you use a fork. So it's just like different like tools for different jobs, kind of. So you can see here that this is wrong. But using React or like using the like React enhancement, because React adds some enhancement to JavaScript, you can write this inside your JavaScript and it will get transpiled to this. So it's just like a function call. So we are calling React create element. It doesn't matter what React create element and stuff. It doesn't matter. Just like try to understand that this thing is transpiled to normal JavaScript code. It's a function with some parameters. It doesn't matter why we are calling this. We will talk about that after, but just get the idea that this thing, it's not valid JavaScript, but it will be translated or transpiled to formal JavaScript or to kind of normal JavaScript. That's the idea. We call this JSX. It's JavaScript XML. It's like HTML, JavaScript HTML. So yeah, this is like a really fundamental idea of React. Is this like kind of clear for everyone? This is like enhanced version of JavaScript. So this is why I want to talk about Babel. So React, or the developers behind React, they kind of created like some extra bubble stuff so they can transpile their code, and you can create your own. Everyone can create its own like transpilers on the top of Babel. So yeah, should we start like with an example or something? Or it's better. Okay. So I use a tool called React Create React App. So when you see this, and I told you that React use like a build step, and it's a layer between you and the browser and stuff. So there's like a build step. You write like your code in React or using React, and you need to build it or to tell React, okay, this is like your code, give me the code that I want to ship to the browser. Clear? So you have like building step. You have like React stuff, but you want to build them or transpile them to normal stuff that you ship to the browser as usual. So it's not really straightforward to use React, it's kind of a little bit complex, but there is a tool created by Facebook. You can see this is like the Facebook organization on GitHub. So this is like the Facebook employees, they work here and stuff. Well, doesn't matter. So there is a tool where you can just install it and start like writing React. But behind the scene, there is like some stuff that you need to do. In old classes, in the last like, I was like assisting like the last React model. It was kind of hard because you need to set up the build step, and it's really kind of complex. So now we can focus on React, understand React. After we can just discuss the build step. But the most important thing is to understand React, to understand the framework. Because after like the build step, it's just something you read about, how to do it, how to do it, how to do it. But the difficult part is how to think or how to use React.
So because now we're going through the fundamental stuff with React now, so just pay attention to whatever Yunus is saying, right? And don't go looking for tools just because.
Exactly.
And then you want people to use this.
Yeah, we will have like examples. We will have like examples or exercises for you. So just try to focus and ask.
Yeah.
That's the main thing that we're
Keep
gonna
your
do.
eyes on the
Exactly.
screen. Don't go looking for the tools until he tells you explicitly. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So
And the React app is like basically it's a project starter. It's similar to how we use Marco's Node Bagel template to start with a Node project. You know, some amount of setup which makes it easy to just get on with writing the code. Just going to use that as a
yeah,
starting point.
exactly. So or even better, you can use CodePen. There is like CodePen here. So as I told you before, this is like React website. I can say get started, and they will give me a really like CodePen. It's called Hello World, it's like new or like start example. We can use that first, and after that we can use like a better tool, just for the beginning. But yeah, so so what you are seeing here, it's really weird. I know. Yeah, I will do that. It's no. Yeah, just is it better like that? Okay, nice. So you can see here, like with this code, we are writing hello world. So it's like just using HTML with nature. So if you will put this on the HTML, you will get this. This true. But we have like extra stuff here, like render and document.get element by ID and stuff like that. So generally in React, there is like two main concepts. So you have the library, the React, what you use in your code, and you have the render. What's the difference? So you write like your React code using React, and after that you give your code to React, and React will render your code to the browser. These like two separate steps. So you have like writing code and rendering code to the browser. Why we have these like two extra steps? Because now a lot of people, they are using React for everything. So you can write like React code. You have like, I don't know, like I will show you how to write like React code, but you have like React code, and using the same React code, you can convert it to mobile applications. You can convert it to web applications. You can convert it to, I don't know, to games. So this is why they have like two separate like steps. You have the React, so you're writing like HTML and CSS and JavaScript. Normal way, just HTML and CSS, JavaScript. But generally, when you write this stuff, you just run them on the browser. You cannot use them to build web applications, to build mobile or games. But in React, there is a step in between, so you can tell React, I want to build. So we have like Hello World. You can convert this thing to a mobile application with Hello World on it, using the same code. This is why there is like two separate steps. So step for building or telling React, what I want to show, and the second step telling React I want to show it on the browser or on a game or something. So here we have React DOM. React DOM is the package to render or to interact with the DOM. You know, all of you know the DOM, document object model, clear? So this is like React helpers or React functions to interact with the DOM, add an element, remove an element, and something. So inside React DOM, there is just like get element by ID and query selector and this stuff, but it's abstracted using a package. So you call a render method, and the render method will take HTML. For example, here it's hello world, and you give it a target. A target, it's like a place where React will put your application. So all the stuff here will be kind of like children of this element. So there is an element inside my HTML called root. Document.getElement by ID will get that element. And React will put the result of this as a child of this element. Yeah, the problem it's no, but it's closed. This is why I couldn't show you. But yeah, we will have like more examples.
Yeah,
But
but also talking about the root.
yeah, exactly. Root is just like a div element inside your HTML. So your HTML is empty. There's just like one element called root. Document.getElement by ID will get that element. So this is why it's better to just use this package. But yeah, so we need to install it using npm. Just follow me. Or no. Just follow me. So I'm gonna create a new project.
It sounded like you said just follow me.
Yeah, follow me. Technically, follow me. Technically. So I will open the terminal. I will go to desktop. I'll create like make your code like hack or react hack your nice name hack it. Even better. Hack your future. Okay, so I will use what? Oh yeah. Yeah, just a second. I really like. I'm using like different. Okay, that will make it easier for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you use like npm install g to install this package. Already installed, and we can use like this package. It's called whoa. Okay, so it's called create react app. So create react app. This one. And as you can see here, you can say create react app and give it the name. So let's say test. Let's name it test app. No, I cannot. Okay. So it's creating a project for me and installing a lot of stuff. So we will see what it's doing. But in the meantime,
You said -G because it's global.
yeah, it's global. Yeah.
Can you use underscore in the name?
What?
Can you use underscore or maybe dash in the name when you are naming the app?
I guess, but yeah, you can try. So now you see, telling me to cd to the app because it created like a folder inside my project, and I can say, you know what yarn mean?
I knew by chance.
What about you, yarn? Okay.
Yes.
So you know npm.
Yeah.
So yarn is the same thing as npm, but with just like better stuff. So for example, when I say yarn install, it's like npm install, but inside it handle like offline stuff, caching. So if you don't have internet, it will cache the modules. So just like npm with the kind of enhanced like capabilities. That's it. So you can use like npm. You don't need to type every time I type like yarn install. Just change yarn or replace yarn with npm. That's it. So you can now view test app. So now it's running the application.
So Yarn wasn't installed before.
What do you mean?
Did it come when you say npm install create a
No. It's my like
It's your
it's on it's my computer. Yeah, exactly. So it's really separate stuff. So if you have like for example like problems with installing and stuff, Yarn is better. It's like because like npm has some problems, not really like clear problems, but Facebook and Google they decided to collaborate and create this Yarn stuff. So it's using like npm underline, but just like a better version. If you have like slow internet and stuff like that. So I'm here. I will open this folder using my editor. I use WebStorm. You can use VS Code, Atom, wherever. So desktop. Yeah, React Hack Your Future. Test app. Oh. So yeah, we have like couple. You've used like package.json and stuff before. So we have the same thing. So we are using the kind of Node.js way to build front-end application, but we are not using Express or Node.js or any APIs. But we are using just the same folder structure. Is it clear, kind of?
Yeah. You guys are familiar with like the SRC folder where we actually keep the code, then there would be a folder which would be generated from that. The public is for hosting assets. That structure would remain the same for most sort of like front-end and back-end.
So, yeah. To run the app, you can use yarn start, and it will start a server for you. And it will tell me, yeah, I can open this one. So it's just so much easier to use like create React app without even like boarding yourself. So yeah, this is it. It just open it like on the browser by default. So this is React application provided by Facebook, just like random stuff. We're gonna delete everything.
Could you show us package.json?
Yeah, just a second. I'm just gonna like have it like clean.
So there's a bunch of code which is there, which is prepackaged.
Exactly.
Because like usually once you know React, you would start from this point. But because you guys are starting with React, you're just removing it so it can show you how to even get that little bit of code started. But later on, you can definitely start from this point and just start writing on top.
I'm just deleting a lot of code so we can have like clear stuff. What? Yeah, just a better?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we can delete all this stuff now. So we have like just this is the same thing that we saw before. You remember?
Mm-hmm.
So now we have just one file called index.js. Everything is here, just one file. Before, let's explore. So we have the node modules where the node modules are installed. We have a public source. You put here like your stuff, for example, HTML, and if you have pictures, if you have, I don't know, like images and these kind of things, you can put them here because they are public. They are not part of your code. You have a source folder where we'll put our code. We have Gitting, ignore. That's, you have used Git before, I guess.
Yeah.
So just for ignorify.
Definitely with the front understand Git ignore.
Is it clear for all of you? Git ignore? All of you? You know Git ignore? For example, you have like website and you use Git inside. I don't know, and you have like some stuff. For example, like you have like sensitive informations. You have big pictures, and you don't wanna like include them inside like your Git. When you push, you don't wanna like push them to your repo. So you can use like Git ignore file. For example, here we are ignoring node modules because every time you clone the project, you can just install the node modules from the package.json. Why pushing it to GitHub? It will be just make it bigger. So we use like git ignore to tell Git like don't include this file, don't include this file, don't include this file. That's the basic idea behind git ignore. And now like every package they have like ignore. For example, they have like yarn ignore, npm ignore. So it's really like we have like these two. I'm gonna delete them. We have dependencies. What? Ah, I'm sorry. Just deal with me, I'm sorry. So yeah, so we have the name, the version, private, dependencies, and scripts. You know scripts? We've used script before. So we have like React scripts here. So React scripts is provided by this library. So when you say like start, there's like server running and stuff because inside we have pre-made script called React scripts. So we are using these scripts and they will like give us all these things for free. We have dependencies. We have 3 dependencies. The first one is React scripts. This thing that we are using to build the project. For example, we are using it here to run the project. So this is just like a build step. This is not something we are using in our code. It's just something we use that help us build the server, start the server, build the code. I told you before because there's like paper transpilation and stuff in behind.
The build step is exactly like the build step that we wrote ourselves using Bubble for the node module. And what we were doing in the browser.
Exactly.
React script is packaging it more easily.
Exactly. So React is doing all this stuff like building and stuff and putting it inside this React script. And you can just say React start, React build. Clear? So this is like helper by React. And we have
If you actually open the node modules folder, just, yeah, there will be a few thousand things, but maybe also you can see all the Bubble stuff which was there. And that's because
Exactly.
React scripts includes Bubble, it uses Bubble underneath itself, exactly what was shown in the browser. Just is simplifying it even further
Exactly.
in the context of a React.
So if you are not using this package, you need to build your own stuff. So we need to create like we use something called Webpack and Bubble, and you need to set up Bubble and tell React that I want to transfer this code and from this folder and put it to this folder. So it's not really complex, but it's time consuming. We can talk about that, but in a separate session or something. But now we want to learn React because it doesn't make any sense to just like focus on time consuming stuff. They are kind of easy, but it's just like time consuming.
Yeah, but all this stuff now, it's automatic when you.
Because React scripts, this package,
Yeah, I mean, the node module, the SRS, everything there, it's automatic.
it's generated by the package create React app. So it's creating everything for you.
Okay.
You just open source folder, index, and you start typing.
Okay.
When we did the Git clone, we got out.
Exactly. So, and we have like these 2 dependencies, and they are the most important thing for us, at least. We have React and React DOM. So React is writing React code. We will write React code. Just like give me some minute, and we will write React code. So we use React to write React code and to interact with the browser and stuff. React DOM is the library responsible for taking our code that we wrote and render it to the browser. Is it clear? So you have React code because I told you, you are here, the browser is here, there is something in between.
What does render mean?
Render mean kind of
Like display it.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like having the final output. It's like having something. Let's say I have like instructions. Put this on the top. I have like paper with put this on the living room. Put this on the rendering them. It's like applying these instructions and putting this stuff anywhere. So when you have like HTML, for example, you have H1, you have P, you have div, you have li. The browser will get these stuff instructions. You are giving browser instructions to put in li and put in ul and stuff. The browser will render this stuff to the screen. Will show them to the screen. This is like what renders kind of mean. But yeah, so this is like the package responsible, and there's like another package called React Native. If you've heard about it before.
Yeah.
So React Native, it's like you have React, but you change this dependency. Instead of including React DOM, you include React Native, and React will take the same code, but it will not convert it to the browser code, but to the Android code and to the iOS code. You got the idea? So React is kind of creating common structure between all these platforms, and you write once and you deploy or put it anywhere. That's basically
What about Windows? Maybe like Windows.
no, React supports Windows, iOS, and
Okay.
Android.
All platforms.
All platforms. Now it's even supporting like I don't know, like IoT, like stuff. So you can like run the React anywhere. Even you can like write like console applications and stuff. For example, npm and this kind of thing. So yeah, and you know what this syntax means? Have you used like this before?
Yeah.
So we're just importing React from React, and we have React here. So we install React and we import it. We install React DOM and we import it. Clear?
Yeah.
And we start using it. How? We use React DOM. So I'm telling React DOM to render my code. This is HTML? No, this is not HTML. This is the thing that I told you before, JS6. But it's just HTML inside JavaScript. But technically, I cannot do that. Technically. If I will copy this code and put it on the browser, it will show an error. Because it's not allowed. But because when I run this code, React will intercept the code because it will not ship the browser to the browser straight away. There is a layer in between. React will get the code, transform it, like I showed you before. Here, it will transform this stuff to functions or function code. I will explain to you after what this function means or something. And after that, we can run the code. So there's like a build step in between.
So it's React transform, but not Babel.
No, you transform to like if you want to build your own transformers, you need to build a lot of stuff. Like code parser, you need to parse the code and stuff. So it's really difficult. So Babel gives you some helpers so you can transform the code easily. So there is like Babel code and there is small React module that the Facebook is using it to transform the code. So because writing like a Babel from scratch is not easy, it's really big project. So you can rely on Babel to transform your code. That's the idea. Is it clear? Like everyone is like, seriously, like, is it clear until now?
Yeah, but just definitely get element by idea and groups. So this part, I don't get it. This is good from my account. I know it's HTML.
So you have here,
Okay.
just ignore this stuff, just meta and stuff.
Yes,
You have body, we can remove this,
No, I get the idea.
and you have ID here.
Yeah.
So you have just simple HTML file. But now you are not writing any HTML inside the HTML files. You have just one HTML file, including one line. And in JavaScript you write everything. That's the basic idea.
So you're saying that before we are doing HTML size, now we are just doing it React.
Exactly.
Full site.
Exactly. So you are building the user interface using React. The user interface. Before you had like UL and allies and stuff inside the HTML. You can still put them inside the HTML, but we will see. We will see after, like, we will get like some hand-on,
There
like,
will still be some separation of concern. So mostly, like the big blocks of HTML, like if you're doing like a big form or like the scaffold for like the container for the whole page, we would still try to separate it from the React code, which is doing more dynamic stuff, which is taking user input and then fetching data and then pushing data. We would still be separating that.
exactly. But it's just like in different way.
But still we will write our HTML.
You still use HTML and CSS and JavaScript, but you use it in a different way.
Okay, yes.
For example, here, instead of putting this line, you could just put this here. And you have two hello. The first hello is coming from here, and the second hello is coming from React. You got the idea?
Yeah.
So we are using the same ideas, but in a different way. We are combining them in a different way. This is like the modern way of thinking, because working with the browser like straight away, it's kind of difficult a little bit.
No, if you remove the other hello from the HTML side,
Yes, this one.
yeah, and go back to the yeah, and then try to show it to
The console?
yeah.
I'm gonna do that now.
Okay.
Nice. So we are aligned. So I'm gonna still put this here, but I'm gonna put it in a div so we can see. Let's say like div ID no normal HTML. Okay. So we have like body here. We have yeah, just a second. No. How to make this shit bigger? Any help?
Command.
Come on. Yeah. Nice. So yeah, you have body here. You have our normal HTML with nation hello. You remember this? This is the plain old happy HTML. Yeah. Okay. But above it you have this ID. It's empty. It's empty. But here it's not empty. So we are done with this one. Just simple HTML. There is hello inside it. But here we don't have any hello, it's empty. So we are telling React that this element, so we can do this like, we can call it container. Container. Oh. So you can do it, you can omit it. It's the new JavaScript. The future. It's the future. Exactly, you can omit it. But they have like added it into the spec because sometimes when you don't have this, let's say you have like another parameters, you need to add this and go another. But if you just have it, you can just. So for them, it's really like something. For us, it's a fucking comma. I can add it like anytime. But for them, no. So yeah, we can just omit it. We can remove it. No worries. So I'm using like document get element by ID. I have this container, which is this one. It's empty. So I have it here in my JavaScript, and I'm telling React to render or to show the first thing here. So I can put anything here. I can put the whole like website here. I can put like, for example, I can put div URL ally. Okay, I can put like whole website here. And I'm telling React, or React DOM specifically, to put this React code in the root container. And it will do that. You can see here, we have an ally stuff. So we have like the root here, it was empty. Now it has a div with the UL, with an ally, with nature.
You also do view page source on this page.
What?
View page.
What do you mean?
So,
Just right click somewhere in the DOM.
What do you mean?
Just right click somewhere in the DOM.
Okay,
Right.
Anywhere in the page.
okay. So,
Without selecting it.
okay. Okay. You want to show the okay, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, because just wanted to point out that if you see root over here, it's still empty. So
Yeah, that's really important.
yeah, this JavaScript is happening in the browser, not in the backend. Now it's happening when you load the page.
Exactly.
JavaScript also loading, that is appending it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So you are sending an empty HTML file to the browser. The browser will receive an empty HTML file. It will render nothing but empty, or just with a div, and it will start running the JavaScript. And the JavaScript inside the browser will start putting stuff inside the. Exactly. We call this client-side rendering. Just remember that. Client-side rendering. Before, you were using you send like the full page. So the browser will get like a full HTML file and just display it. We call this server-side rendering because the browser is not responsible for building your UI. You send a pre-made UI to the browser. This is called server-side rendering. This is the normal way. But in React and new frameworks, we are using the client side of rendering. But there is like some people who's using like the same server-side rendering. So they are not running React in the browser. They are running React in the server because you have Node.js. So you can run JavaScript code inside the browser. So you can render the React components and the React code. You can render this in the server and send the constructed page to the browser. So you don't need the browser to do all the job. You can just do it by. This is there is no real benefit. Of course, there is an advanced kind of stuff where you want to do that. But generally, here we have client-side rendering. We have browser-based rendering. We have empty files. We have JavaScript rendering on the browser and building the UI.
This is pretty much like what you guys did with, like fetching data from an API and then rendering the DOM, like when you press a button, that kind of thing. That your HTML file didn't contain that DOM, the JavaScript did it, So this is like that. But you could also have like a step in between, which you will do later, which is like the HTML file where you have the root. It wouldn't have the content, but it would also. But when you do view page source, when the page renders, you would see the content there. So that would be like server-side dynamic rendering.
Exactly.
Yeah. But right now, this is still pretty much like what you used to at this time, right?
Exactly. So yeah. For example, if we disable JavaScript, what's gonna happen if we disable JavaScript? You can disable JavaScript. You know that on the browser.
Yeah.
You can do that. You can I don't know if I have the. Yeah, I have it here. So I don't have the second.
Yes.
So, for example, I have like this hello coming from. Let's remove it. This is coming from the here. We don't really need it. So you have just the UL with the div and lala and stuff. Let's say you disable JavaScript. It will not render anything. Why? Because JavaScript is responsible for rendering. If you see as we saw before, if you see the page source. It's just empty. It's just empty. But by running JavaScript, the browser will start putting stuff or React or
Can you click on this?
this one.
Jump, yes, yes, yes.
You will be surprised. You will be surprised. Just cross fingers. You will be surprised.
Because we are using Babel to do the compiling for all
Big
the
stuff.
React codes and
Just check this.
Thousands. Now.
Exactly, because this is the React code.
yeah, tens of thousands.
This is the React code. This is what developers at Facebook are writing. So you ship that to the browser. But it's not really your job to do that. No one is doing that. Even like engineers in Twitter and stuff. So this is not your job. This is React. Like when you install React and you import it here, you will send it to the browser. And it will be included here. Okay? So it's not really something you should care about.
So, you know, like till this point, we were like using a whisk to mix the flour and like a knife to cut the carrot, and now we're using a food processor over there.
Exactly. Everything is
So
automatic.
and that's why the same way you know you use a knife was flexible to do these things you did with the knife. But when you get a food processor, your logic of like what to do with what component also changes. That's like the separation of concern shift that we're gonna see, you know.
That's actually very exciting because you do exactly the same, but you do it in a different way, an easier way.
Sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's difficult. Depending on the web, you have clients, they will give you like requests. I want to build such a website with something and something, so they have requirements. And as an engineer or a developer, because you will become engineers by experience, because you really need to realize ideas and stuff, you will start thinking, is React better for this kind of job? And you will decide if React or Angular or just like basic JavaScript is better. But always, basic JavaScript is really important and something you cannot skip.
If you have to like slice one carrot, then sure, just use a knife and do it, and it would be 30 seconds later it's done, you know. But if you have to slice 500 carrots, it really makes a difference if you have food processor. You know?
What if you employ 500 men to cut one each?
So you can hire 500 people, all of them learning basic JavaScript, and then put them all together. Right?
Tedious and it's confusing. Yeah.
So, what the fuck is this? So yeah, until now you got kind of the idea how React is working and stuff, and what we need and the build step. So now we start thinking in React, because when you use React, you are forced. Just remember that when you use React, you are forced to think or to use a specific way or to think in a specific way. You are forced. You have no choice.
What do you mean? There is guide, you have to follow the guide.
Exactly.
of the React.
Exactly.
Or standards.
Standard of React, the guide of React, how to code, how to build the website, how to build a navigation bar, how to add an on-click. Before you just add event listener and done. But in React there is one specific way. This is why a lot of people love React and others hate React. And it's the same for every framework. There is fan and people and haters. Just like, for example, you will learn React. React is really valuable because it's inspiring all the other frameworks. So it's really good to know. For example, after you can move to Vue, to Angular, it's up to you. But the knowledge that you will get here, it's important in all the other frameworks. So we are trying to generalize the concepts and these kind of things. So thinking in React, we're gonna start thinking in React. So React is, in our opinion, the primary way to build big, fast web app. This is like hip stuff from JavaScript. But generally, if you want to build a web application, you start building the whole HTML, designing using CSS or layouts and stuff, and adding dynamics or loading data using JavaScript. But just imagine if you have like a big website, you need to code all the HTML, jump to the CSS, and after that jump to JavaScript. But if you want to edit stuff, if you want to remove, you need to review all the JavaScript file. If you want to add, I don't know, like Uh, hmm. Yeah, this is pretty old. Let's say Instagram. Why do these websites aren't found? Because
So you blocked it.
I'm still blocking Java. Yeah. So this is the downside. If someone is blocking JavaScript, they cannot view your website.
But that's the example you showed that those are they using.
Yeah, exactly.
How heavy they're using because we can't see anything.
Exactly. It's everywhere, and especially React, like Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook, Netflix. Netflix, it's really a big user of React. So all these big companies, they are using React, and they are looking for React developers. So it's really a big thing now. I don't know. It will, at least for 2018, it's a big thing, and I guess it's your like kind of responsibility to find a job, or your kind of purpose to find a job in 2018. So it's really a good way to do that. So we will get back to the future. Not really a big fan of football. Yeah. So this is Instagram website. Let's say I want to build this interface. I work at Instagram, and Instagram wasn't like this before. There was like a different layout. So they decided to switch to this layout. And there's a developer, front-end developer, responsible for writing this code. And you can do it. Everyone can build this. You can build this. It's super easy. So it's not really a big deal. But if you build it using the old way, or what we have been doing in the last few days or the last few weeks, you will build the whole HTML, everything.
Yeah.
After that, you will add CSS. After that, you will add JavaScript. For example, to add like verification, for example, here and stuff. You will do that. Okay? But this is not the way that new frameworks are working. Basically, all of them, I guess, Angular, Vue, and React, all the big like players, they use the component model. What's a component? Let's say, if you use HTML, you have like small components, and you nest them and you reuse them. You have, for example, image, H1, and stuff. It's built by the browser, and you start using these tags or these like components to build complex websites. So it's provided to you by the browser. You got the idea? Using these new frameworks, you can start build your own components, your own tags. Are you with me?
Yeah, kind of your own library you have.
Exactly. So we start like enhancing the browser by building these like, for example, let's say, yeah, it's not, yeah, it's here, yeah, exactly. You can see, for example, here, these like weird names, with router, connect, display, with router. You can see these weird names. It's like, normal HTML, div, h1 and stuff, but mix it with some weird other like tags. So using React, you can build these own, like your own tags. That's the thing. And you can reuse them. For example, you don't need to build 4 components here or 4 like inputs. You can just build one input and start like using it everywhere. You got the idea? Or you can build this button, and this button, they are almost the same. The difference is just like what they do when you click and what's the text inside. So you can build the same design. So we have like the same button. It's like a function. You have a function that returns a button. And this function takes 2 parameters. The first parameters is the function that you do, that you kind of fire when you when the on click like happens, and the text. So it's just a function that take two parameters and like put these parameters inside and return a button. So this is the React way of thinking. You start thinking of your website at like small components. For example, if you open Facebook, you have the, let's say, I don't want to open my Facebook because I have really weird memes and stuff, so
That means,
I don't want
in essence, Eunice,
Yes.
that means I think in summary from what I understand is that you can use React to build a completely new app without going through the traditional way we learned before. Maybe doing the HTML, CSS, add JavaScript, and
Yeah.
So you can just do all those things without going through that normal process.
Exactly. You are changing the process. You are still using JavaScript and HTML and CSS, but just changing the browser. Changing the. Yeah, you can use React, but you are still using like this stuff, but you structure them in a different way. So still, we used get get element by ID and stuff, but we just like use it in a different way. So you have like website here. This is like the messenger, or you have like use it all of you. So for example, this one here. You can build just one. Let's call this like I don't know how to call it, the chat item. You can build one chat item as a function, and it takes picture, the last message, and the name. And you can reuse it everywhere. You got basically the idea? So this is the way of thinking using React. You start like kind of thinking of your website as really like small like components, small like building steps, and you combine them. This is the idea behind React. And we can see like a concrete example using this one. So let's say you have this website. It's listing like prices, and you can search. It's just like small like application. And we have data to show. So you have like JSON data. You got the JSON data from an API, and you show it here. Normally you use like you have like UL, you iterate through the UL and start creating allies, putting the text inside the ally, and attaching the ally to the. This is not how we use React. So the first step, break the UI into component hierarchy. What that means? When we saw the Facebook, there was like a big application. Let me show you again. So you have this thing. So this is the whole like screen. You can see the whole screen. This is like we call it like the container. Maybe it's the root, but it's like the container. And it has like several like children. For instance, you have here the chat list, the current chat, and infos about the guy or the user that you are chatting with. So these three are children of this like main container. You got the idea? And this container or this component, it has like a lot of children. So you have kind of a tree. It's like the HTML tree. You remember the HTML tree?
No.
You have div, you have body with, for example, div and UL, the UL with allies, the div with other ULs, and ULs with other H1s and stuff like that. And it's the same thing for React. But the thing, when using like the old way, you start just like coding everything. Here you start like breaking your UI into kind of components, so you can kind of reuse them. You have here the list, you have here the container. It has like 3 children, and this children has like a lot of other children. And for example, this children, it has like 3 other children. The picture, the image, and the. So just start thinking of your website like this, using this model. So here you can see we are breaking our website into pieces. because we want to code these pieces together. Let's say you have another list, so this list is for listing prices. You have another one for listing users. You don't want to build another search. You can use just this search and put it there. This is why we kind of decouple the UI or start like cutting off the UI. So you have like here the search like component. You have this list component, and the list contains like headlines or headers and the list items. Okay? And they are saying here filterable product table, so it's like the orange, and you have search blue, and you have product table green, the product table green. So you start just like dividing your website into small components. You build the static version. What that means, you use React to code this interface without thinking about the data and the API, because it's so much easier to build the user interface separately. After that, you can get the data and change it. This is how React works. Before, you couldn't do that because you are getting the data and constructing the items and stuff at the same time. But in React, we have like separate stuff. So we have the display of the data, the rendering of the data, and you have other code responsible for getting the data and stuff. I will show you in action how we can do that. But just try to like get used to this way of thinking. Are you with me?
Yes.
We need something.
10 minutes.
Break.
So,
Yeah.
so first we make a design of how long we want our page.
Exactly. You start like,
And
how I
that-
wanna
and
build
that-
this website.
Exactly. And that's daily data. It's like fake data.
Exactly, it's just fake data.
Just to show.
Exactly. So you start like thinking of like your website, how I wanna build it, the hierarchy. Because if you have like reusable components, what I mean by reusable components, it's like you have piece of code you can put anywhere. For example, you have like shit, I don't know, any random like thing, you can put it anywhere. You have, I don't know, like search here, so you can just copy it and put it anywhere wherever you want. So you have like reusable code, and after that, if you want this search or this list to display like users or football items or prices or anything, you can just give it as a parameter, like a function. This is what, like, we are using function for this like thing. We're using function to build like reusable code. Now we are using function to build UIs. Exactly. So you have a function that returns a button. You have a function that returns a list. You have a function that returns, I don't know, anything. Exactly. But it's like a function that returns a valid thing that we can render to the browser. And after that, we can use this function to change the behavior of our website. Let's say like a really basic example. Yeah, but just so you break your component hierarchy, you build static version. We will do that, all of us. Yeah, so that's the thing. But until now, we have been just using static stuff. But we want to, like Instagram, they have been like using random like names, connect, display stuff. So we want to do the same. We want to build reusable code. Let's say I want to build I have this thing. Okay? I have div with nested h1. And I want to render multiple, like I want to render multiple ones. Yeah, there is one thing. Like, you should have like a common ancestor for all of them. So we need to group them all in one tag, in all HTML rows. It's like the same thing. There is one parent. So we need to have one parent. So here we can just so we have three. We have like hello2 and hello3. So, but for example, hello hello2, and hello3. Let's say I want to edit the markup. I want to make it h2. I need to go through all of them and change h1 to h2. Imagine if I have a website like Facebook with millions of lists and posts and comments. How I can change all of these? It will be super difficult. Super difficult.
If I'm going to change the markup and class styles.
Yeah.
So it's how we can do it. We can understand how.
You can just, when it's come to CSS, it's up to you. We use just the old CSS. We just create separate like CSS file.
So here we use React for only for HTML.
Because that's the difficult part. Because in the modern like age, for example, you have the design of one post. You have the design of one Facebook post. And you can reuse that design. You can have a class like called post. And you have a div, you can just assign like class post. So you can just do here like ID. I don't know, like ID equal like like post, let's say post.
So if I do it here,
I can have like, just a second, I can have like in my CSS file an ID selector and put design on it.
Okay, so I take this ID from here, for instance, post.
Yeah.
So I can manipulate the
From CSS. From CSS. So CSS, it's kind of simpler. You can just use the old main CSS. Because in the modern like web application, the CSS is not really the problem. Because we have like static CSS. But what's changing is the HTML. You click on something, a pop-up appears in Facebook. You receive a new message. There is a red bubble on the messenger. This is what's changing. But the design is static. You can design it once. You can design like rounded like circle like red button or list once. But adding it and removing it when you receive a message and when the message like appear, that's the difficult part.
Yes, but here, for instance, when I'm going to how I'm going to link this
with with CSS, yes, there is different way. But here you can just create a new CSS file and just put the CSS on it, and React will just do it automatically.
So I need to put the link for the file in the let's see.
In the index.
Yeah, exactly. You can do that.
Yeah.
So when it's come to CSS, it's really like the old way. There is nothing changed.
Yeah.
There is, of course, other frameworks of CSS, but it's not really a big deal. You can just learn it, and it's not really like mindset like changer or something. It's super simple. I'm still using the old CSS, but the difficult part is not design. It's the behavior, what changing. Because
you know, like we're reacting to the challenge that we have by building these apps.
Exactly.
The challenge is not that you have like a differently designed component or content show up in your application. You know, the design is fixed from the beginning, right? But the challenge is that the content keeps on changing. You know, you'll have somebody post something and that needs to show up in somebody else's feed, or this person is chatting and that comes to you as a JSON message at the server that needs to be rendered, right? And that means new HTML elements need to be created in order to be rendered. So that's what we're, you know, the style for the chat will remain the same throughout, but it will change once in a month. Everyone will be
exactly.
That doesn't need to be done. Right?
Exactly. We are like Facebook. If you see Facebook, they are like really changing the design, but the functionalities, adding, removing stuff, post, loading, add more comments, load more comments. There is a lot of change in the HTML. If you do that all manually, it will be. You can do it, but it will be error prone. There will be a lot of errors, especially if you have really big, and it's not really efficient because you are the performance part. We will talk about it after, but also there is like. So as I told you before, I need to go to each component or each like tag and change it. That's bad. So React give us the ability to reuse code. So what I can do is to create a function. Let's name it header. Okay. Just a normal function. It will take parameters. Let's say this function is responsible for returning this.
Is the reason why you're using header with a big edge?
Yes. I will explain why. That's weird. I'm returning HTML inside my JavaScript. You know, like these parentheses, it just to group this thing, so it can be like kind of clear. I can do it like that, but it's just looks really bad. No? This is definitely better. True? So we are returning HTML inside a function. So having like a capital letter at the beginning of the function.
What does it indicate? What are we going to do with it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So generally, like before, if you want to build, because now we are building a React component, but it's just a function. I just want you to kind of understand it as a function, but this is a class. React we call new stuff inside it. So you put this. If you put like small letter here, it will not work. So you need to put like a capital letter here.
And even if somewhere there's a small letter class name and it works, etc., then you just call the police and tell them there's somebody who's doing this in their code.
Exactly. It's really, as I told you before, there is specific way on how to use React. It's really good. Like, believe me, companies, I work in a company, we have guideline for our code. They will not accept your code if you don't follow specific patterns. And each time you commit, each time you push, you cannot push because each time we have like something called pre-commit. So before committing, there is something checking your code and making sure that your code follow the design of the company. And if, I don't know, if you like remove the pre-commit and push it, you will hear like bad stuff from your coworkers. Super bad stuff. So companies are really strict about like having guidelines because it's make the code so much easier to think about, and you have like clear patterns. Every time you see like capital letter, oh, it's a React component. You don't need to think, is it a helper function? Is it a normal function? Is it a React component? No, it's a React component. Kind of that. So it's really good to have guidelines. We will talk about guidelines after. So let's say I want this function to return like a div with h1, but I wanted to have like custom text here. So I want to put like, for example, let's take parameter here called text. And I want to put text here. Okay, so this text is referring to this one, to this variable. Is it the case? Not really, because before we had hello. Is it a variable? Generally, I know you have you will tell me that for like if you refer to something like that, this should be a variable. But if you want string, you need to put it in double quotes or something. But inside React, JSX, the thing that I've been talking about, you can put text safely here without caring about the double quotes and stuff. But if you want to put variables or JavaScript expressions inside JSX, you need to do like this. Here, if I will say 5 plus 5, let's say I will just omit this. Let's say hello here. Let's say I have like const name Yunus. Okay. And I want to put that variable here. I can put name. Not really. It's literally name. It's just like string.
There's no way for the transpiler to figure out.
Exactly.
If it's a string, if it's like
So inside JSX, everything is like kind of string. If you want to put JavaScript, for example, if you say like 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, okay, and you put it's 5 plus 5. So JavaScript is not executing this code. So what you can do is do this. Have this thing. And here you can put like 5 plus 5. and it's done. So you can use these curly braces to embed JavaScript code inside the JSX or inside the HTML. Okay? Just give me two. Yeah.
Can we put two variables in the same column?
Generally, you are putting JavaScript expression. Let's say you do like this.
Yes.
Let's say you do like this. If you copy this and paste it outside, is it correct JavaScript? No. So you put correct JavaScript here. So if you want to print the name, you can just do this.
Straight.
Or you can do like this. You can use like
Okay.
so just JavaScript. There's nothing new. JavaScript. You are like putting numbers, or you can use like template literals. This is like what everyone is using. Yeah. No. I'm so because I used to use this. So yeah, if you use here 5, and you can put name. So just JavaScript. Is this clear?
Basis, so we could use contributors inside, but now it's looking at it, it's now becoming a little bit confusing because contributors also using 20 bases inside, so it might become a little bit hard to read the script inside the everything. Usually don't mess template inside template if you have to find it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it would just rather be nice to just use it instead of two different
Yeah. For example, yeah, exactly. In my company, I'm not allowed to use this. I can use like template inside template. So if I will build a feature or build a website using this technique, they will tell me, "Screw you, delete the code. We don't care. Change the code." Literally. There's no like. So it's really like up to you or up to your company to have like specific like designs and guidelines about that. So, okay. But is it clear? Do you have like any questions? Just true. Yes? No? Yes or no? Any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah?
Next one I want to say, give me a suggestion. I want to use it.
Okay, so let's say, so you can put this here. It's
So also need that space between
on the front. Very just
guidelines.
and like I don't like this all is still new for me. But I'm just saying that this is how it has to be.
Exactly.
Experience.
It's JavaScript.
You know.
It's just JavaScript, yeah, exactly. Because of his JavaScript experience, he could notice this is bad and this is good. It's not just about React. When you are learning React, you are not saying, "Oh, I will show JavaScript." No, it's like JavaScript. It's like 20 I don't know 20 page, and React is just half a page. So JavaScript is really important. It's the language. You are using JavaScript to write React. So React is just like small amount of knowledge you add on the top of your JavaScript skills.
It's like Node.js and
Exactly. Precisely.
It's just a better tool to do the same things. You can see like how it improves the code, makes it simple, gives you some functionalities which you would otherwise always in each project you would implement it yourself. So something with a library for it, borrow functions. But most of these conventions are not even limited to JavaScript. I would do exactly if it was the same thing in Python, for example.